Alright, hello everybody, this is Eric with another Battle Tanks League commentary video. Here on the South team we have BlackBull, who picked a helicopter and went a light plasma gun. Accompanying him is Enemy in a light tank with a bombard rockets. I wonder if Enemy also bought that tank. No, he randomed it because he also has a tech mech. And GoblinKing is with them with a helicopter and a light cannon. So three very high DPS tanks from the South team in the middle. They can be very aggressive with these for the next 10-15 or so minutes. Facing them is Alrion, who randomed a Raider and got a basic magic. Hokuto, who also got a distributor and went a basic magic. I wonder if he bought a tech mech because his basic magic isn't upgraded. He did indeed. So he used the strategy that I recommend when playing distributor in the middle, which is to not buy a weapon, walk your tank to the middle, but buy a tech mech, and then by the time you've walked to the middle, the tech mech can buy you a basic magic and teleport it in for you. And then with them is Caav, who is also an Raider with a basic magic. Normally, it's not very fun to random Raider in the middle because it doesn't have the most aggressive abilities in the middle. It does better on the lane. But on top of that, you don't get to start out with a very high DPS weapon, and so you will fall behind your teammates in farm because they will have the DPS to kill more creeps than you. But seeing as all three of these guys got basic magics to start, they should have pretty even farm. I'll be interested to see how these two Raiders end up playing against these helicopters and light tank. All three of these tanks have the triple rockets ability, which can deal damage and stun an opponent, and so these guys have to be very, very careful about their positioning lest they take a lot of stuns and a lot of damage at once. However, these tanks should be able to take straight up fights much better with their reactive armor, the reactive armor and the shape memory alloy, I think it's called, as well as the reflective armor. Meanwhile, on the bottom we have Pikabar, who is in an anti-grav. He's already upgraded his basic magic. He's going up against Tschepetto, who is in, I don't know how to pronounce that, I'll just call him Tschepetto, like the what's his face, the puppet dude. Why am I blanking on his name? He's in a light tank with two basic magics. Blasted. Now I'm trying to think of that the one freaking puppet who wants to be a boy, and I can't remember him. This is embarrassing. Anyways, we have EMZE, who's in a demolisher with a basic magic. He's going up against VSIN, who is in an anti-grav with a basic magic. The anti-grav was able to start out with the basic magic upgrade, but now that EMZE has upgraded his demolisher's basic magic, they do have equal DPS right now. So let's see if EMZE can use his superior hit points and more defensive abilities of the demolisher to hold this strategic location and not have his tower get pushed. Pinocchio, oh my gosh, now I'm finally, I can rest easy and my conscience can move on to further commentary. Anyways, it looks like EMZE and VSIN are pretty evenly matched, I think, in terms of ELO. I think VSIN might have a slightly higher ELO than EMZE does. EMZE does play the lane a lot, so he outperforms his ELO slightly on lane, I think. So it's good that he's here. Occasionally he does have to play in the middle, and he doesn't perform very well. But I think VSIN has the slightly higher ELO. I might be completely wrong on this. So I wonder if VSIN is going to be able to play more aggressive against EMZE soon. And the same goes for Pikabar against Tschepetto. Tschepetto is a pretty good player in his own right, but he is nowhere near the ELO of Pikabar. I think he's actually more similar to like an EMZE or VSIN in terms of ELO. I'm maybe completely wrong on this. He does have the DPS advantage over Pikabar for now, given that he was able to buy two basic magics and upgrade them. Pikabar only has one basic magic. That will change at about the 5-minute mark when Pikabar is able to get a second weapon. I don't think Pikabar is going to get a Star Shooter. You can get the Star Shooter as anti-grav sometimes against land tanks. The Star Shooter has only 900 range, but it does extra damage versus ground tanks. So that makes it a good option if you are something like a Raider or an anti-grav and you can make use of the shorter range. Some aggression going on in the middle. Looks like the North team here actually got a couple of kills. And now it's been 5 minutes, so let's see if any of these guys get some better weapons. Alrion needs 100 more gold. He needs 1,750 gold for him to be able to teleport back to the base and buy a tech mech and get a basic magic. You just saw all three of these guys use their triple rockets on Alrion. Hokuto did try to save him with the reactive armor, and it did actually cancel out one of those triple rockets. That technically cancels out 2 triple rockets because he only took the damage from 1 on net, but he did die anyway. He almost got a return kill on I forget who at this point, but so far the North team is getting some kills. As long as they can get their weapon counts up and get their DPS up and just be very careful about their positioning so that they don't die to these triple rockets. I guess what am I saying about the North team getting plenty of the kills? The South team got that last kill. But like I said, they can take fights more strongly straight up, and so as long as this will be an interesting dynamic to watch in the middle with the South team having all of the aggressive abilities, it'll be interesting to see whether they're able to use them judiciously, or all 3 triple rockets going off once again on Caav. They're unable to get the kill, and then Hokuto comes in with a bunch of heat-seeking missiles, and he's able to get 1 kill, and then Caav gets another kill on GoblinKing. Caav taunting the enemy team, saying that he baited them into a bad fight. Pikabar looks like he's already gotten 2 additional basic magics. That's interesting. I don't know if he even got a tech mech with those. It looks like he just straight up bought the 2 basic magics, and he's going to try to play pretty aggressive on this lane. He will need to buy a tech mech at some point, so he will need to return to his command post. Tschepetto is giving him a few opportunities to do that for now. Tschepetto is still holding his own in this position, but he has to go back himself to heal. Pikabar is going to push this lane pretty quickly now that he out DPSs Tschepetto and has more hit points and more aggressive abilities than him. Tschepetto is of course going to get a tech mech and a hole now, so he should be able to hold his own once again against Pikabar, but Pikabar does have more DPS that he can upgrade still. And these anti-grav abilities do scale a bit better than the light tank abilities when you're at level 5, 6, 7, 8, because he has multiple abilities now that can stun Tschepetto, deal damage to him, or use the jump ability to either escape, as he does in this case, or close the gap between him and Tschepetto and make Tschepetto play in a vulnerable position. And this South team, despite having all the aggressive abilities, they're playing back for now. They do get the triple rockets off on Alrion. Let's see if they can finish him off. Not quite. Hokuto excellently uses the reactive armor once again, and then Alrion is able to take a heal just before he dies. So he barely survives in that exchange, and they're going to maintain this position in the middle. If this middle team is able to push aggressively enough, this North middle team, I say, then they will be able to push their creep waves into the enemy team's towers, and they will start getting leveling advantages over the team that way. I think they do have a slight level advantage. So far they have 2 people at level 6 compared to just 1 on the South team, and in fact these 2 players, Enemy and GoblinKing, they're only level like 5.5 or 5.6 and 5.8 right now. 2 of these guys are already level 6, so it looks like they have been farming a little bit more, which is pretty impressive considering they only started out with a single basic magic each. So EMZE is fortifying this position against VSIN. VSIN does have to be very careful that he doesn't push into EMZE's mines. That's why EMZE is trying to keep this position as much as possible. He doesn't want to go back all the way back to get the healer and then give VSIN an opportunity to safely take out 1 or 2 of these mines. EMZE wants these mines to stack up as much as possible, and when they do go off, he wants himself to be present there so that when VSIN has half of his health taken out by the mine, EMZE can quickly take advantage with an artillery shot and a shockwave and some DPS from most weapons to follow it up. Looks like we missed a kill from Tschepetto on Pikabar in the bottom, so that was kind of unexpected. Looks like 2 more kills happened in the middle from the North team, so this North team is pushing pretty hard, and Pikabar really needs to turn this around against Tschepetto quickly so that he can go help his middle out, because his middle looks to be losing. And once we're 25-30 minutes into this game, I'm going to suspect that Hokuto, Caav, and Alrion are going to get much stronger tanks than BlackBull, GoblinKing, and Enemy will. they're going to be able to safely save up to it more between 15 and 25 minutes with their tank abilities, and also they are better players in the middle in general. Tschepetto continuing to push on Pikabar for now. Pikabar does need a hole. He did get one, and he also has a tech mech. I wonder if he's going to bring that tech mech with him. He does try to jump on Tschepetto. He didn't use his little shock ability, the W, so I don't know why he didn't commit to that. Maybe it was on cooldown. EMZE has already bought a ghost tank at 10 minutes. That is very, very quick. So I wonder if he's going to try to play very aggressively against this tower. He will be able to use a tech mech and buy back his basic magic soon. Actually, he only has that one basic magic. He doesn't even have a tech mech with another basic, so he saved directly up to ghost tank, and he was able to maintain this position as a demolisher using his mines. So pretty interesting build there from EMZE. I wonder if he's going to try to get another weapon first, or if he's going to go straight into maybe a siege pack. I probably would recommend him getting a weapon first, so that he can clear out these creeps more effectively, not lose kills to the Dark Force. And I think Anime Bro and Pro Hunter are speculating that Pikabar will go for a Shredder off of this anti-grav, considering his middle is losing. Both of them are going to try to team up, Pikabar and BlackBull on Tschepetto. Pikabar is able to dodge out of the way and then get the ability off on Tschepetto, and Tschepetto does kill Pikabar, and he almost kills BlackBull as well. BlackBull is barely able to kill Tschepetto there, so this South team is kind of struggling. They're not even able to gank very well. Tschepetto started out that fight, I think, with half hit points, and so did Pikabar. And Tschepetto was still able to get a one-to-one trade out of that. Excellent play in the middle, able to get a focus down Alrion, and BlackBull barely escapes once again. And yeah, I wonder if Pikabar will just try to get a Shredder, let Tschepetto push that bottom lane, and try to teleport into the middle as much as possible, especially if he can get that Shredder maybe at 20 minutes by the time he gets level 10. He will have about a 10-minute window where, maybe a 5 to 10-minute window where all of these tanks are relatively vulnerable. Alrion comes out with a Storm tank. This is pretty interesting. There are 2 helicopters on the South team, and this will make it very, very difficult for them to try to save up for tanks. They might be forced into early tanks such as Heavy Tank or Thunder Tank. BlackBull looks like he was faking a teleport to the bottom to try to gank Tschepetto. And so if these 3 tanks were going to have a hard time saving up for tier 3 tanks such as Hunter or Demon or Brawler, that's going to be even harder now with this Storm tank playing. And now this top team, this North team, does have a proactively aggressive ability. They can use the leash to pull the South team tanks back, at least these 2 air tanks, and now the South team is the team that needs to be very careful about their positioning, not just the North team. Looks like GoblinKing has gotten a hole and a fireball cannon in addition to that light cannon, and then so has BlackBull. He also has the hole and the fireball cannon, and then enemy is sticking with long range for now, with 2 bombard rockets and an iron hole. They do try to pull one of the South team tanks. It is unsuccessful, and they don't commit to the attack. Looks like we're going to try to gank Tschepetto again. I wonder if Pikabar has a jump and a W in him so that he can stun him. BlackBull does have the speed. Let's see if he can try to get a stun off. They do have to be careful because they're running into Tschepetto's creeps. I wonder if anybody from the North team is going to come in and try to help out, and nobody is. Everybody in the middle was still pushing, and then VSIN was busy with EMZE, so nobody came to help. That was a very long gank. At some point, any of these players could have teleported in and swung that fight, but nobody did. We see VSIN has responded to EMZE's Ghost Tank with the Thunder Tank. That is a pretty good move by him. I think VSIN tends to play the Thunder Tank a lot, so he is a bit experienced at it. And the Thunder Tank has the Electro Aura ability, which deals damage to all enemy units in an area of 600. I think it does slightly less than the Tank Cannon does, but it is a good choice of tank for clearing out ghosts and summons. So it is a good counter to Ghost Tank for now. I think Sky Tank is a little bit better of a counter, but you do have to save up for that for a while. And I wonder if EMZE's already gotten a siege pack or anything. No, he hasn't bought anything yet. He does have 2,000 gold. He'll be able to get something soon. Let's see if he gets a weapon such as an electro cannon first. I think it's way too early for a siege pack. He would continue to lose gold to the Dark Force here when it comes to killing creeps, and VSIN has too many tools in his arsenal right now to quickly take out mortar teams without EMZE being able to back it up with his own abilities and DPS. Pikabar is only level 9 right now, and he is at a level disadvantage compared to Geppetto. He is going to have to jump out of the way. Geppetto almost gets the kill on him. Let's see if BlackBull's there to teleport in. Nobody's there, so nobody's going to die in that fight, but Geppetto is outperforming his ELO vastly against Pikabar right now, and this middle is also losing, so Pikabar might get a Shredder or might get a Storm Tank and try to swing this. I doubt he'll get a Storm Tank since VSIN has already committed to a Land Tank. Alrion is the only one who's going to be playing an Air Tank in the middle, but perhaps if Geppetto gets something like an Airship, Pikabar will respond with a Storm Tank that can help out, that can win his lane and help out in the middle as well. But my bet is that he's just going to get Shredder instead. Geppetto is going to reach level 10 before Pikabar will, so that might give him an advantage in a single fight. Geppetto does have to be careful. He took a lot of damage there trying to get that triple rocket off on Pikabar. He's going to have to flee and not commit to that fight. And let's see if this South team is starting to save. GoblinKing has upgraded his Fireball Cannon, but he hasn't saved yet, and BlackBull has now gotten a Kinetic Shield, so he'll probably start saving now. Maybe he'll upgrade his Fireball Cannon first. They are going to try to team up on Alrion here. There is a mine that's going to go off, so you do have to be careful. They are going to get the kill on Alrion, and they do survive the mine. Excellent gank there by BlackBull and GoblinKing, teaming up with EMZE there. I wonder what Alrion was doing all the way over there in the first place. Maybe he was trying to gank EMZE. And then VSIN already has an early teleporter here. Yeah, let's see what EMZE gets. He could get something like a rock catapult. That would be a decent second weapon. It would keep him from getting pushed to his own command post. And that rock catapult, it upgrades to a 5,000 gold weapon in total. Though Anime Bro does point out correctly that he doesn't urgently need to get a weapon since VSIN already got a teleporter. I don't like this teleporter out of VSIN. I think the teleporter works if maybe he were in, say, Pikabar's position, where his command posts were getting... Well, actually, that did work right there. I would say normally that would work if his team were having his own command posts getting pushed, but right now the North team is pushing the... bottom command post. Geppetto is pushing on Pikabar for now, and this middle is heavily pushing as well. So if all three of these command posts were getting pushed, he would have plenty of opportunities to come in with a quick teleport and gank, and try to follow up with the little DPS he has. But right now, EMZE is going to push him a lot with these troops despite his Electro Aura. EMZE did get an Electro Cannon instead of the Rock Catapult. I think he would have been better off getting a Rock Catapult, but maybe he didn't have the tech mech, so maybe his gold was spent getting the tech mech and then getting the Electro Cannon. I think Rock Catapult, if you can get it over Electro Cannon, is better overall since it is better slot in the late game and it's a slow firing weapon. Pikabar is now level 10, so he can jump into the middle if he wants to and help his team. VSIN taking a fight there with EMZE. VSIN, once again, this teleporter is not the best because EMZE, now that he's gotten a weapon and he has the summons, he's going to be pushing VSIN as well. And so VSIN cannot leave his command post safely without his tower taking a bunch of damage. And that fact is going to be exacerbated once EMZE gets something like a siege pack. It's like Pikabar did get a kill on Tschepetto. BlackBull did team up with him using a kinetic shield. Alrion's going to try to reach around and kill BlackBull. He's not going to get there in time. He might get to Pikabar, but GoblinKing does come in and he's going to try to protect Pikabar to get him safely back to the command post, which he does. Alrion is slyly commenting that why is Pikabar the one getting all the help with the ganks rather than him ganking everybody else. GoblinKing does have to be careful. He's not going to get that kill on Hokuto. BlackBull is starting to save. Enemy is a little bit saved. GoblinKing is starting to save. Enemy could get something like a heavy tank pretty soon if he really needed to. In fact, he could do that right now, but maybe he might not. if the North team continues to push pretty aggressively, then he'll probably get a heavy tank, but they're not getting as many kills as I was expecting them to get once Alrion went to the storm tank. Pikabar is saving up for a pretty good tank. If he were trying to get a Shredder, he would have bought it by now. Same with the Storm Tank, so he might try to get a Sky Tank. He does use the Phase Out ability on Tschepetto. Tschepetto uses the Ultimate Rocket ability on Pikabar. They're both going to flee from each other. And then VSIN, once again, lacking DPS. Oh, he's finally gotten something. Energy Blaster, I've never seen that weapon. 750 range. Interesting. 2200 upgrade cost, 700. I feel like there are better 750 range weapons, like this machine gun here, whose upgrade is 1250. That energy blaster upgrade isn't that much better than just a glaive thrower. Oh well. EMZE does have a siege pack now, and he is pushing on VSIN. VSIN is going to teleport onto him. EMZE cannot hide from his Electro Aura. Let's see if somebody teleports in to try to help him out. EMZE does try to use the Ghost's Life Train ability to buy him some time. VSIN is able to get the kill, and nobody's there to help. Tschepetto does get a Sky Tank. I wonder what Pikabar is going to respond with. I think Pikabar was perhaps trying to get a Sky Tank as well, but the Sky Tank versus Sky Tank isn't going to be that useful. They're not going to be very aggressive versus each other. That'll be kind of a boring matchup. Pushing going on in the middle here. Caav is able to get the kill on enemy with his hit and run before anybody responds. Now Pikabar is going to come in. They're going to get the return kill on Hokuto. BlackBull does plant a kinetic shield as well. EMZE is going to come in, summon some troops. I don't think anybody's going to get any more kills in this fight. And yeah, Pikabar usually goes Shredder, Storm, or Sky, and the time to pass to get Shredder or Storm has kind of passed already. He could get Storm once again versus Tschepetto, who already went Sky, but Sky versus Sky, if you're Pikabar and you're trying to feed, isn't the best, because Skies can't be very aggressive versus each other. Enemy does get the heavy tank, sells one of his weapons to do it, and Pikabar gets a Goblin Wrecker. This is very interesting. It looks like Pikabar is going to stay in the middle now. I wonder whom they're going to send to the lane. VSIN does teleport in, try to get a kill on BlackBull, an enemy there. Pikabar tries to hook, it is blocked by the creeps. Now VSIN's going to stun Pikabar. They're going to use some heat-seeking missiles, try to get some further kills. Nobody's going to get any more kills, and yeah, Pikabar's probably going to stay in the middle now. And who are they going to send? They're going to send EMZE to the bottom, and who are they going to send to the top? Maybe enemy with the heavy tank? And try to keep BlackBull and GoblinKing here? I don't know. GoblinKing can't go with the Ghost Tank since EMZE already did that. I wonder if it would have been better for the team had EMZE gotten Shredder, and then GoblinKing gets the Ghost Tank. Pikabar with an excellent hook on Caav, tries to use the hit and run to flee, it's not going to work. And then Hokuto with sharing is carrying on all three of these opponents, and then VSIN's going to teleport in, use the Electro Cannon that's amplified by the sharing is carrying on everybody. They're trying to counter with kinetic shields. Enemy uses his ultimate ability, and Hokuto counters it perfectly with the reactive armor. So that was 3 kills for the North team here. And Alrion saying maybe a third kinetic would have saved you guys. That was an incredible sequence of abilities there. A 3-to-1 trade after Pikabar hit Caav with the hook. And they do need to decide whom to send to the top. VSIN is going to start pushing at this point. Caav does get a darkness tank now, so he's going to be pretty aggressive. I wonder what Hokuto is going to get. If he gets his own Goblin Wrecker, or perhaps a Hunter. They probably do need something with a stun, maybe a Demon Tank, because that way Caav, or a Hunter, that way Caav can hit those Orbs of Darkness more effectively. You just saw him miss one against enemy. Those Orbs of Darkness do incredible amounts of damage and stun opponents in an area. However, they are hard to aim and hit. Easy to dodge unless you're slowed or stunned. BlackBull and EMZE are going to try to team up against tschepetto. tschepetto does have speed. He has the speed ability. He's going to be able to escape. VSIN does teleport in. I thought he was just going to go back. He's going to try to kill EMZE. He uses his ultimate ability. EMZE does try to use the life train. BlackBull does run away from that, or GoblinKing does. Wonder if they could have gotten the kill on right there. Caav is a much less easily killed target than VSIN would have been, in my opinion. Caav is going to try to use another Darkness Sphere. He does get a lot of damage off on pikabar. Nobody's there to follow it up. But I think at level 5 that does 3750 damage. And so if you have an opponent that is stunned briefly and you get the Darkness Sphere off on them, that can really swing a fight. Or I think it's the Darkness Orb. Sphere of Darkness is the ability that he just used there, which blinds and slows opponents. EMZE is playing against tschepetto on the bottom. tschepetto does have the abilities that can quickly counter EMZE's troops. So EMZE is probably better off playing on the top versus not tschepetto, and maybe try to keep VSIN here. GoblinKing does have a not very much gold saved up for 30 or for 25 minutes, and nor does BlackBull. They really need to get tanks soon. Hokuto once again counters this heavy tank ultimate. GoblinKing barely dodges that Darkness Sphere. He would have died had he been maybe 100 range closer to that. Pikabar is able to get a kill on tschepetto. That's impressive that he's able to do that with a solo Goblin Wrecker. VSIN does teleport onto EMZE here, uses his ability once again. EMZE cannot use his troops to hide with the Electro Aura. Pikabar is going to teleport in, use a couple of bombs. BlackBull comes in and teams up with the triple rocket. They are going to get the return kill on VSIN. tschepetto is pushing Pikabar's tower and also his tech mech. Pikabar is going to need to get that repaired, and he'll probably have to stay in this bottom lane for a while. He won't be able to help out in the middle. Goblin Wrecker isn't the best tank 1v1. Did he just get a hook? I completely didn't see that. Oh, he used the net. Interesting. Excellent play by Pikabar there. Let's see if he barely survives. That's a 1-to-1 trade. BlackBull did try to save him with the kinetic shield, just a fraction of a second too late there. And so Pikabar doesn't need the hook if he has the net launcher against the Sky Tank. And then Hokuto has gotten his own Goblin Wrecker, so that's a tank that will work well with the Darkness tank. If anybody is pulled into that hook, they're going to have a very tough time fleeing. Enemy gets pulled in. Caav is in position to follow up with the Orb of Darkness. Let's see if he uses the Sphere of Darkness and then the Orb of Darkness. He gets the Sphere off, Pikabar pulls him, and then BlackBull stuns him. Caav might not be able to get any abilities off. He is able to get it off, but he misaimed it. He was counting on enemy running straight back to the command post, but enemy was being careful there. So good response by the South team. However, tschepetto did get a kill on that bottom tower just now. VSIN continuing to play aggressive versus EMZE. He's gotten another energy blaster, which I don't like that choice of weapon because he's going to have to start selling off things now. He kind of clogged up his inventory too quickly. The only thing he can combine at this point is this teleporter if he upgrades that speed boost. Hokuto with another hook on enemy. Caav following through with the Orb of Darkness. It does miss enemy, but enemy already died. He did hit Pikabar. Wonder if VSIN's gonna try to make a play on this command post here. Everybody's too close to the middle command post. They're gonna teleport in pretty quickly. tschepetto is now pushing this top command post. Maybe he's gonna try to get a kill on this tower. You can see he's already using his flame strike. BlackBull is finally going to tank. Let's see what he gets. Gets a Goblin Brawler. Actually, I'm curious to see how BlackBull plays this since I've been getting Goblin Brawler a lot recently. BlackBull is a better player than I am, so I'm curious to see if he uses it much differently than I do. Comes in and immediately uses the R ability on Hokuto. Hokuto is in a position where he can safely sit there and not take damage from it. Looks like tschepetto got a kill on Pikabar. Probably teamed up with the VSIN for that. EMZE did kill this bottom tower here. So we've got a Goblin Brawler. I think the Goblin Brawler, maybe I might be wrong on this, I think the Brawler is another good defensive tank. Not the most good proactively on offense. Oh, you just saw pikabar use a bunch of abilities in combination on Geppetto. He used the net launcher, and then he used the hook, and then he used the trap to keep Geppetto disabled for a long time. Caav shoots an orb of darkness. They're trying to finish off this tower here. Uses a sphere of darkness. He is a little bit vulnerable. EMZE is life training him, and pikabar doesn't have any hooks or abilities in him, but he can slow him down a little bit. He doesn't have the DPS to finish that fight, and nor does VSIN. Though I wonder if they're going to try to push this tower real quick. If that flame strike had been used on that tower, that would have been a guaranteed kill, though he might not have reached that tower. It's a 3-on-2 right now on the top, 2-on-3 in the middle. Though GoblinKing doesn't have a tank yet. And Alrion got his own hunter, so he already switched away from Storm. I was going to comment a little bit earlier that Alrion's Storm tank wasn't quite that useful. I was expecting them to play a little bit more aggressive, but everybody at the South team did end up camping. BlackBull gets the R ability on Hokuto, who just sits it out. So I think that was wise of Alrion to change tank to a hunter. 30-minute hunter with 2 basic magics is a little bit poorer than he would have been otherwise, but I think that hunter is better than the storm tank. Hokuto does miss the hook. Caav is going to hit that darkness sphere on both BlackBull and enemy for about half damage. And Alrion takes a Molotov cocktail, I forget what it's called, explosive brew, and is shifted back towards the command post a little bit, but they don't have the DPS to finish him off for now. Tschepetto won't be able to push that command post anytime soon, and he actually needs to be careful. If pikabar steps in and gets a net on him, then he pretty much dies instantly. He does have the teleporter that he can use to escape. Looks like Hokuto got a kill in the middle. Oh, I think I was saying earlier, I consider the Goblin Brawler a bit more of a defensive tank. It's easier to use the R ability and the Q ability on enemies that are trying to flee than just aggressively, proactively on enemies. And so when you have enemies pushing a command post and then you try to gank them and teleport in, that's when the Brawler is most effective. Also, you can quickly use your shields to preserve allies who are towards the end of a fight. So I'm curious to see how BlackBull uses this. Pikabar with an excellent hook, barely able to pull Caav into that darkness tank. BlackBull tries to use the explosive brew, he misses Caav. And so Caav might actually get out of there. Alrion did get a kill for the North team in the meanwhile. And now they're playing pretty aggressively, so the North team did get away with that, despite Hokuto getting hooked. Now they're going to hook GoblinKing's Tech Mech. Let's see if they can get the kill. VSIN's there. It's going to guarantee it. He's already sold his basic magic just to get an energy blaster. I really don't like that. The basic magic upgrade costs 1,600 and the energy blaster upgrade only costs 2,900. So he barely upgraded his inventory there, and he lost a lot of value for that. BlackBull's going to get out of the way of Alrion there. Then he misses the R. Caav once again using these darkness orbs to siege this tower. Does take a couple of abilities from enemy there. They're trying to get the kill on BlackBull. BlackBull is going to be able to survive. Hokuto tries to hook. It's blocked by some creeps. I think pikabar would have dodged it anyway. Tschepetto pushing EMZE on the top here. EMZE does spawn some mortars to try to stall. Let's see if they can get a gank. Nobody teleports in. And Geppetto is going to have to go back to heal. I keep saying he's Geppetto, but that's because I don't want to pronounce Geppetto. I don't know if it's pronounced a bit differently. Alrion takes an R and a Q from the Brawler. He does survive. And that's why I do find the Brawler a bit harder, unless you can straight up win the fight with just raw DPS, which BlackBull can't yet. Unless the enemy is trying to flee, like somebody's already stunned him or used an ability on him, like this heavy tank or this Goblin Wrecker, it's hard to just straight up use the Brawler to initiate fights like that. BlackBull does use the Explosive Brew defensively, but Alrion is able to get the main gun off on him for pretty much maximum damage there. And I'm trying to see this kill counter. It's 15 kills for the South team, 26 for the North team. So I think the South team has actually kind of held their own since everybody's gotten tanks. Tschepetto does teleport out of the way of Pikabar's net launcher. Well played by him. He would have been guaranteed dead had he let that net go. And that would, each net is 200 gold, so that's not free for Pikabar. And you can see Caav continuing to use these darkness orbs to siege that tower. So it's down to 400 health, and it does die to Alrion's main gun. And now that's a good use of the R, where Caav is actually trying to flee. Nobody was in position to follow it up, but he did have to flee and take a lot of damage from that. So all three of these command posts are vulnerable. Let's see if the North team is able to use their mechs, or maybe a sneaky 1-2 punch, and catch this North team out of position. They are going to get the kill on Hokuto there, the South team does. Get out of the way of Caav's Orb of Darkness. BlackBull has bought his weapons back. Usually at this point on the Goblin Brawler I get speed. But I wonder what BlackBull will get. Then GoblinKing does have a hunter. I don't know how long he's had that. Tschepetto trying to get the kill on EMZE. EMZE will survive. Then looks like Pikabar hooked Alrion. No other reason for Alrion to be all the way over there. And they do get the kill. And VSIN is continuing to sell off inventory. I wonder how much he's lost already. Let's see, VSIN's here. He has that basic magic upgrade that he can buy, but if he wants to get any more weapons or anything, he'll have to... He can upgrade the steel hold to a strength pack. Oh, I missed him getting a kill on EMZE there. GoblinKing gets pulled into a trap and he's on the wrong side of the cliff here. Tschepetto does hop in to try to assist in this fight. Hokuto using his Goblin Wrecker bombs to guarantee that kill. And Tschepetto barely survives enemy's little rocket from the heavy tank. And the North team does get a kill out of the exchange. Pikabar is going to hook Alrion now. Let's see if BlackBull can use the Explosive Brew properly. He does, pushing Alrion back about 200 range towards his teammates. And then they do flee the Orb of Darkness from Caav by going around this way, and they're able to get a kill out of that trade. However, EMZE does get hooked at this point, so he's going to die. So BlackBull has bought his kinetic shield back. GoblinKing catches 2 people in that gravity grenade, and then Alrion catches 2 people himself. Alrion does have an orbital strike at this point. Let's see if GoblinKing can hit somebody with his main gun. Alrion has too many hit points. Caav is a little bit vulnerable, but he's safe. And then Hokuto gets a hook on enemy, pulling him into VSIN. And Alrion, they are able to finish him off. Explosive Brew misses. Tschepetto teleports out. EMZE trying to use that ghost tank to push this middle tower here. You can see VSIN has put a tech mech on that tower in the middle. That is a pretty safe tech mech despite it being in the middle, considering this North team is the one pushing. Everybody dodges out of the way of Pikabar's hook. Excellent. And now let's see if they push this tower right now. Alrion does have that orbital strike. He only hits one person with it. Can they get a build? Pikabar is able to get the build. And then Hokuto misses his hook. They're going to have to flee this, and this exchange isn't going to work. Caav does hit enemy with the Orb of Darkness, but everybody's going to have to go back and try that again. VSIN does teleport out of the way there. Yeah, they needed to get the build, and they needed Alrion to hit more people with that gravity grenade. But once their abilities are off cooldown, they can try that push again, and they will win that matchup. Enemy has gotten the strength pack and the speed pack. He can get another powerful weapon, but then he'll be kind of vulnerable hit points wise with only 7,600. So he's going to have to sell one of these weapons at some point unless he wants to start saving real early for a tank. They're able to team up and get the kill on BlackBull, and now Pikabar himself is vulnerable, and Caav gets the Orb of Darkness off. This is going to be a captured command post, I think. Enemy is dead. Everybody on the south team is dead except for EMZE, who's taking this top command post. He's able to get the capture on it. He's going to teleport back and pretty much instantly die. Alrion has built a laser tower. BlackBull is teleported in. Goblin Brawler is pretty good in these situations defending the command posts, and actually they're going to hold on to this. They're going to get the kill on Alrion and Hokuto as well. And Alrion did spend 2,000 gold on that. So that actually turned into a poor exchange for the north team. They did get a lot of kills, but then they lost, I think, 3 guys. So they got 5 to 3 kills, but they lost the command post and laser tower. So actually the south team held on to that very well. And I do like that Goblin Brawler. I think it's very good at defending command posts in situations like that. It has many abilities that can push people out of the way, out of the command post, and preserve allies who are getting focused. Alrion trying to get a kill on EMZE here. He does trap him in the gravity grenade. EMZE does have to be careful that he doesn't get too low of health, because he takes a main gun and then tschepetto finishes him off. Tschepetto does take an R from the Goblin Brawler of BlackBull, but he's going to ride it out and just flee. And now VSIN teleports in, and so does Hokuto, and BlackBull is going to die. So trying to chase kills from the south team, and I think 2 or 3 of them died in that. It's a shame that the Dark Force got the kill there, or the Light Force did, stealing gold away from the tanks. And now they gotta defend this middle again. Tschepetto is out of the way, so is EMZE. EMZE is trying to siege the base from that top position. Hokuto misses the hook. GoblinKing tries to get the gravity grenade on him. It does hook Hokuto. It does hit Hokuto, but he's unable to be pursued. And then Alrion missed his gravity grenade. Caav did get hit by the Brawler R. Let's see if Pikabar has a hook in him. They're trying to stay out of the way. Pikabar tries to hook on Caav. Caav dodges it. I wonder if this energy spears takes damage reduction from it not being able to attack buildings. 4,600 gold, 378 DPS, 850. $4,400 gold, 888, 333. I think it might have the same DPS as... Maybe it has a slight DPS buff. Oh, I think there's a Google Doc with a table that where you can see the weapon formula. BlackBull with an excellent explosive brew, pulling back Caav and dealing damage to him. They're able to get the kill. This top command post is a little bit vulnerable. VSIN and tschepetto trying to team up to kill EMZE. BlackBull does teleport in. He's going to try to save EMZE there with a shield, and they're going to get the kill on VSIN. tschepetto himself is a little bit vulnerable. Does GoblinKing have a main gun? He doesn't. They do have to teleport back pretty quickly since Alrion is trying to take this middle command post, trying to focus down BlackBull with the tower. He's unable to get the kill, and he doesn't have the main gun in him. And then meanwhile, it looks like this command post was getting taken, so fights happening all over the place right now. But for anybody not familiar with weapons, all weapons follow a DPS and range formula, so every weapon is balanced. But some weapons that have special properties, like only being able to hit ground tanks or air tanks or creeps, will do more or less damage than comparable weapons of its cost and range. So I think this energy spheres, it looks like it's doing a little bit more damage than it should, which might actually make it pretty useful, because while it cannot be used to hit buildings, if you're in a command post fight, it will only focus tanks, and if it has additional damage, if it has extra damage in addition to that fact, then I think that's actually a very powerful weapon, because you can be in a command post fight and it will deal extra damage and ignore the barricade or whatever is being built and focus down the tank, which is more dangerous than the tower is. This North team is starting to take a little bit of a lead in kills. They were within 10, I think, 5 or 10 minutes ago. It was like 20 kills to 30 kills, but now it's 24 to 39, so the North team has been getting a few more kills than the South team has. Excellent team play to kill Hokuto there. And it looks like VSIN was trying to be a little bit too greedy, and that looks like just kind of a donation. So South team gets 2 kills. Pikabar with a very long hook on Alrion. Alrion does not have a teleporter. He might have a gravity grenade in him. He is going to use it right here. Let's see if he can use the orbital strike as well. He's going to be able to get a kill on GoblinKing at least, teaming up with Caav. So that's, that turns it into a 1-to-1 trade. Oh, I thought Hokuto was going to try to hook enemy there. He does try to get the hook on BlackBull. I thought that was excellently aimed, but just barely not enough range. Caav does take a Brawler R. He's going to run out of the way and just take the damage. EMZE continuing to try to take any opportunity he can to kill VSIN. VSIN does teleport onto him. Looks like he teleported not quite where he wanted to, almost as if it were on a breaker, but there was no breaker here. Can tschepetto get the energy bomb on EMZE? He can't, and now he's trapped in GoblinKing's orbital strike. Though Caav does come in with a darkness sphere and get 1 kill. He almost kills pikabar as well. And then Alrion barely misses pikabar. And now he might die as well. Yep. Hokuto getting a trap on EMZE. He does have a lot of DPS with that light fantastic. Can he finish him off? EMZE is life draining him, and Hokuto does finish him off. GoblinKing, of course, has his own orbital control at this point. And then BlackBull has gotten a light fantastic. Usually I stick with 1000 range or 950 range on the Brawler. I tend to find it playing a bit more often at longer range. But if you have a lot of things like Shredders or Wreckers, where if you're playing in fights that count, it'll be at short range, then light fantastic is the better buy. South team does get a kill there despite getting hooked. Brawler putting in work there, getting the R and the Q off on VSIN. He does have to be a little bit careful. He uses the W ability to escape. Caav with a second energy spears, interesting. I think he's a little bit vulnerable. He should probably get a hole or a teleporter before saving up for an endgame tank. A couple of hooks go off. Hokuto misses his. Pikabar hits his, and Hokuto's going to die in that exchange. And Caav has to be careful himself. Enemy finishes him off. And this South team is actually getting more of the kills in the last 5 minutes. So if they keep it up, they might actually have the advantage in net worth at the 55 or hour mark. And I think the window that North team had to push this command post and really be dangerous in taking it has pretty much gone away. BlackBull dodges Hokuto just barely. Looks like they're gonna push this top command post. If they all teleport in, they can maybe take it. They're a little bit out of position. BlackBull and GoblinKing do run back to the command post. Pikabar does get the hook on tschepetto. It looked like he faked a hook. Maybe he was using the bomb ability when he had nothing charged. I think it has the same animation as a hook. They do get 2 kills out of this. Enemy is taking the bottom command post. Meanwhile, Alrion does come in to kill him. However, they will take this middle command post, and that's not good. BlackBull does get a build off. They're going to teleport in just in time. Actually, no. Probably better that they didn't. So they just lost the middle, and EMZE is a ghost thing, so he can siege this base. And this North team is kind of throwing the game right now. They do have to defend this command post. They can siege this laser tower pretty quickly if nobody's there. Enemy and BlackBull are going to try to team up and kill Hokuto. tschepetto is going to try to return with an energy bomb. It doesn't quite finish him off, and now he dies. Caav himself is a little bit vulnerable, takes a gravity grenade and an orbital strike. So that turned into 3 more kills for the South team. And they were really swinging this game right now. VSIN is saving up for an endgame tank. Maybe he'll be able to get it at the 55-minute mark. Some early tanks might be this North team's only chance at this point, because the way this current matchup is going, the South team is using their abilities much more effectively as a team. Except for right there. BlackBull just kind of had a stray R ability on VSIN and it missed. Let's see how well they can push this bottom. If pikabar can get the hook on Alrion. Barely misses. GoblinKing teleports in. He gets hooked himself, and he might die before he can get his own gravity grenade and orbital strike off. GoblinKing is the one to die in that exchange. Looks like EMZE did die. These fights, if they go if the South team is able to go 4-on-5 for a while, in these fights, I'll comment on that soon. If the South team is able to go 4-on-5 in these fights for a while and leave EMZE time to siege the base, or even enemy with his own mortars, they can start killing these laser towers and these factories as well, and that will really create a long-term advantage for this South team. I was going to say, it looks like BlackBull has spec'd his Goblin Brawler a little bit differently than I have. He has gotten the W ability far more than I usually get it. I usually get it to level 1 or level 2 just for quick escapes or quick pushing people out of a command post. I find it's actually worse when you skill it too long, because then it goes way farther than you intended it to. GoblinKing with a couple of kills on the South team. And usually when I'm the Goblin Brawler, I get the E shield ability a bit better. The E ability doesn't scale linearly with level though. I think at level 1 it does like 800 protection, and then at level 5 1800. So there are diminishing returns with each level you skill with it. But I don't personally like the W ability, getting it really highly spec'd. Though maybe I should watch more games of people playing Brawler, and it might actually be the more useful build. You just saw what BlackBull did try to do in the middle there, which was to use the R ability on whoever it was, I think it was Hokuto, and then use the W to push him and force Hokuto to move and take damage from the R. it didn't work, and he ended up dying instead. EMZE trying to deal damage to this laser tower. Let's see how quickly they're able to clear it off. VSIN has gotten a frost robot. It's a little bit late for that. It's 50 minutes into the game. And once again, as a frost, he's not going to have that good of an inventory. He can buy back his strength pack in one of his energy cannons, but then if he wants to really be useful as a DPS, he's going to have to start selling these energy blasters, which, I mean, those cost 3,000 gold each, and he bought too many of them. I feel like VSIN has been playing pretty well, but his build order, I don't really like it. It seems suboptimal to me. Enemy spawning some mortars. They are dealing damage to this laser tower. There is a tech mech there from VSIN to repair it. Aggression going on in the middle. Hokuto trying to hook. Alrion trying to get an orbital strike off. 1-to-1 trade. Two people from the south team are down. Caav gets an excellent orb of darkness there, and they're probably going to take this command post. VSIN and Caav are the only ones left. GoblinKing is there. Alrion is also there. This is a 3-on-1. If GoblinKing can hold, he doesn't. And then VSIN's going to spawn some mortars so that they can clear out that barricade pretty quickly. Pikabar might be able to teleport in. He does. How much can he survive? BlackBull is there as well. Pikabar does die. Alrion does have the build, however, and they are going to hold this. They still have the tower. EMZE is going to teleport in with a bunch of troops, and yeah, they do hold it. Hokuto tries to hook. It is dodged. And then GoblinKing gets a kill with the main gun. That looked like a really good push from the north team. The south team barely survived that. Trying to keep these laser towers alive as long as possible, because as soon as these fall, these factories will go pretty quickly. Enemy tried to teleport in onto Hokuto. He hit a breaker, and so now he himself is vulnerable. This is going to turn into a 1-to-1. Caav teleports out of the way of GoblinKing's gravity grenade. VSIN uses a freezing wave on GoblinKing. And tschepetto barely unable to get the kill on pikabar. And EMZE has already killed one tower. So I think this south team is winning. You can see they've almost already closed the gap between them and the north team in terms of kills. And the fact that they were behind earlier and now are almost even means they're probably ahead in net worth, because kills in the mid game give a lot more bounty than kills in the early game do. And so the fact that they have that, and they have 2 more command posts, and they're starting to siege the base, they do have a pretty heavy advantage here. And the worst case scenario would be for this, of course, this north team to lose this command post, because then the creeps get a buff and they lose access to this tank construction hall right before they're probably able to get tanks. And let's see if any of them are saving. Alrion's not. He doesn't need to as a hunter. Does Alrion have troops? This is pretty interesting. It does allow him to clear out barricades and such quicker. Hokuto with an excellent hook. GoblinKing's going to maybe try to get a gravity grenade off on Alrion, unless he already used it. Alrion gets the one instead. VSIN hits a breaker trying to teleport in. Tries to use freezing waves on EMZE. I think that last freezing wave almost hits enemy. Enemy is finished off. And then BlackBull is going to get the kill on Alrion. You just saw the very, very long W from him. Caav trying to push this command post here. I think he was counting on somebody teleporting into this breaker. Actually, no, that's the south team's breaker, so I'm not sure what that darkness orb was. Maybe it was just a wild guess. Shot in the dark. It missed. Let's see if anybody's saving up. Alrion wasn't. Hokuto has a little bit of gold. VSIN, of course, just tanked, and I think that was not a very good tank. tschepetto has a small amount of gold. Caav has a small amount of gold. Meanwhile, BlackBull has a small amount of gold. GoblinKing actually has some gold himself. That's interesting. I think the kinetic shield and the area boost stack. Maybe they don't. Interesting choice of item there, especially as a hunter. Caav barely able to gets the kill on pikabar and teleports out of the way, and now BlackBull dies. So there's 2 people down on the north team. Let's see if they can take this opportunity and push right now. VSIN comes in. They're going to have to kill this barricade. Alrion spawns troops to deal with that. EMZE spawns his own troops. If they can get this build, the south team had to flee out of the way, and so Alrion is able to build a laser tower. Pikabar teleports in. Alrion did, of course, miss his gravity grenade and orbital strike, though it did allow him to get the build. And yeah, they're going to have to flee. Second command post being taken by Caav right now. He's going to kill GoblinKing, perhaps. Though maybe, yeah, he will get the kill with GoblinKing with the conservation, but he dies in return and he loses a barricade. And yeah, pikabar actually has a lot of gold. BlackBull has some gold. Enemy has a lot of gold. And then EMZE doesn't have much gold. I wonder if he's been getting armor upgrades. 16, 18, 11, 12. So EMZE has been getting a lot of armor upgrades, and anybody can Titan at this point. Pikabar might get the Titan right now. Yep. Titan comes out from Pikabar, and the clock is now ticking on this north team. They need to get tanks very quickly. Pikabar can come in and start clearing out these breakers and start taking this command post. Maybe what they could try is a strong push to this middle to take out factories, force 3 or 4 of them to come in, and then Pikabar drops in with the obelisk. As of now, they're just trying to defend. But here comes Pikabar. Let's see if he can plant the obelisk in the command post. He doesn't have many weapons back yet. Maybe he has them on his tech mech. Not sure. Though maybe he's just bought mana. He hasn't bought mana. He does have some recharges, though, for mana. He does teleport out of the range of the breaker and get the obelisk in. It does deal damage to a lot of people. He uses the R ability. Pikabar is going to die out of it in this exchange, though he did deal quite a lot of damage to everybody else. Where is the south team? Enemy was getting a tank. EMZE is sieging. They still got 2 kills out of that, but had everybody been present, they definitely would have taken that command post. EMZE does kill the second laser tower in the middle, so these factories are now very vulnerable, and the troops will start pushing into them as well. This north team still doesn't have any armor upgrades, so nobody's ready to tank yet. Hokuto 7,000. VSIN has a tank. Tschepetto 5,000. Caav 8,000. They're not about to imminently tank yet, though it might be worthwhile for one of them to maybe get a no weapons infernal or something just for defense. Maybe Caav can sell his stuff off and get the infernal, or maybe get a Titan, just sell everything. Caav himself is a little bit vulnerable. He might die just due to the obelisk. He does. Enemy does die in return. Alrion's a little bit vulnerable. He's going to take a gravity grenade and an orbital strike. I wonder if Pikabar could have planted his own orbital strike in addition to that. And yeah, South Team, you have the tank advantage right now. So push this command post and deny them the ability to plant any tanks. Enemy does, of course, have a breaker in here. Pikabar and GoblinKing have detectors to make sure that the South Team doesn't put any breakers down. North Team just got a couple of kills, though. And they're going to try to push this middle command post. Pikabar is there to defend. They're going to try to take this bottom command post. Can Alrion plant a good gravity grenade? He only hit Pikabar. And his orbital is out of sync right now with his gravity grenade, it looks like. Unless that was GoblinKing's gravity grenade I was seeing. One of the factories is almost down. The North team still isn't aware of this teleport breaker in their midst. And now they're aware of it. Enemy catches Hokuto in that teleport breaker. And now they're going to push this. And this is probably the end of the game. Alrion does get the build to try to defend. They're going to try to focus down BlackBull before BlackBull can escape. BlackBull is able to teleport out of the way. But pikabar is in here with the ultimate ability and the obelisk, which deals 2,500 damage to anybody who tries to teleport in. And this is going to be too much, I think. Or maybe not. They do hold it. I didn't expect that. Though in the meantime, EMZE has gotten a kill on a factory and almost a second factory. And we have a third tank coming out from this North team. Sky Fortress. So they have 3 endgame tanks, 0 endgame tanks on the South team. They do have armor upgrade 18 now, so looks like Hokuto might be trying to tank. Or maybe he did all the upgrades since he has no gold right now. Tschepetto gets a tank. Caav might be trying to tank soon, though it might be a little bit too late. Alrion does get the gravity grenade and the orbital strike off, and it's an excellent one, hitting 4 people. Hokuto does, of course, have that barricade. And then tschepetto tries to pull somebody, but yeah, they're not really in position to just take this command post, and they're going to lose it. And EMZE is already sieging the base meanwhile. So they tanked up just barely too late there. Actually, they do hold on to it. No way. I did not expect that. Caav teleports in, uses the Sphere of Darkness and the Orb of Darkness, and then pikabar also gets hooked. Tank, tank, tank. Get tanks. Caav, you need to sell your stuff right now. VSIN, you don't have a tank. tschepetto got a tank. Alrion is a hunter. And then Hokuto, it looks like he bought all the upgrades. tschepetto buying back his weapons, etc. I don't see Sky Fortress played that often. I'm not very familiar with the late game dynamic in general, but Sky Fortress is probably the least played from what I can see. Caav does get the Infernal Robot, so they might be able to hold on to this command post. Hokuto tries to hook somebody and get a free kill. Doesn't happen. Pikabar is going to teleport in. He uses the armor ability. He's just going to clear out this barricade. I don't know if that obelisk can see the detector. I think it can see teleport breakers, though maybe it can't see them either. I know you can use it to clear out teleport breakers. I don't know if it's a detector, I can't remember. If he can get the net on Alrion, BlackBull misses the net and Alrion gets the gravity grenade on 2 of them. tschepetto does net BlackBull now. And then Caav comes in with the Infernal. They're able to get the kill on BlackBull. And at this point, we're starting to get into the phase of the game where dying means you are dead for a long time. So BlackBull is dead for over 20 seconds there. We're going to try to kill EMZE real quick. EMZE does not have a teleport, so he's going to die. He has already taken out 2 factories though. And I think that for every factory dead, the South team, the Dark Force, automatically gets 5,000 gold. So that will be distributed to the South team's players every 5 minutes. Alrion does plant a teleport breaker. If you're the South team, you want to focus down Alrion as quickly as possible. Pikabar gets netted and he's going to get bombed. He's also going to get stunned and frozen. Pikabar teleported out of the way into Alrion's teleport breaker, and then he gets an excellent orbital strike. So he does escape that. Looks like everybody's going to flee from this fight. BlackBull gets hooked, but he uses his whatever ability, Shockwave, to get out of the way. Then EMZE is continuing to siege this base. Looks like he's finally starting to save up gold, and he has gotten a teleporter, just for additional survivability. And the more this south team pushes this command post, even if they're getting even trades, as long as they're stalling out these fights, EMZE will earn gold and start killing these factories. Alrion's forced to use his acid cloud and his main gun on EMZE. That was kind of a waste. Those are better used on very high hit point tanks like Titan. Oh, pikabar with a net launcher on tschepetto, and then tschepetto gets netted by BlackBull. tschepetto has to teleport out of the way there. Now pikabar himself is a little bit vulnerable. pikabar teleports back to his own base. Let's see if they can make something out of this. pikabar does get the build off, so it's probably not going to be pushed. Enemy barely misses the Devastator shot on Alrion. EMZE has pushed a little bit further into the base. That laser tower is almost down, which will make these two factories vulnerable. BlackBull just hit an offensive breaker from Alrion. And then it looks like that obelisk from pikabar can see it. So I wonder if the obelisk is a detector. I don't know why it didn't attack that one little detector earlier that was at the command post. If you're the south team, how do you win this? I'm not the most familiar with late game mechanics, so I'm not sure, but I think you just try to take good trades. You are fighting 5-on-4 for now, as long as EMZE is out of the fight. Maybe you can try to get a gank kill on EMZE really quickly, and then make a 4-on-5, make it a 5-on-4 at your command post, where you don't have to worry about EMZE sieging your base. And like I said, we are at the point in the game where if you die for a long time. So if the north team can get an exchange where 2 people die, especially if they're 2 non-EMZE players, then they can start pushing command posts. Maybe take 1, maybe even 2. And you can even see sometimes these late game fights snowball, where one team kills 2 players, and then they take a 5-on-3 at the command post and kill 2 or 3 of them. And now those 2 or 3 died at the command post, and they have 30 or 40 seconds to respawn. And so they go back to the a third command post, or to capture a second command post, and the first 2 people who initially died are there, but the people who died at the previous command post aren't, and it's another 5-on-3, and you just keep doing that, and you can take 3 or 4 or even 5 command posts in a single swing like that, and sometimes the late game will go very back and forth that way. So if they want to get into a pretty good position, they do need to take good trades. And they just need to be mindful of EMZE. Don't let them kill too many factories. They are losing income right now because of the absence of those factories. So maybe 1 or 2 of them who has already tanked could plant a factory in the base and start farming. I don't know who would be the best candidate to plant a factory. Perhaps Alrion. Alrion can stick with the hunter for now and get some additional farm. Maybe tschepetto. tschepetto already has some weapons, so he doesn't urgently need to buy back his inventory like Caav does. Caav has a lot of DPS he can buy with that Infernal to really maximize his performance there. Did EMZE just get a kill? That is interesting. That is exactly not what you want to be doing if you're the North team. And then EMZE gets a kill on Alrion's tech mech right there. Caav is going to try to kill him. EMZE teleports out of the way. Nice plays by EMZE there. BlackBull is going to get the hook on VSIN and the carpet bombs as well. And then pikabar is in the midst of that fight using his abilities. Let's see if pikabar can get out of the way. He doesn't have any speed pack. I think he might have teleported into that fight. I don't know if enemy was able to get his Devastator shot off. But these are the kinds of trades you want to be taking as the North team. tschepetto does have to be a little bit careful. Yeah, he could have teleported into a breaker easily there. Caav has bought back both of his energy spheres. He does have enough to get a troop factory if he wants to. Maybe he'll get another weapon. Confusion magic. Not the most powerful of weapons an hour and 10 minutes into the game, but maybe he just urgently is trying to get DPS. He still has 2 slots free. They do have one breaker here, but pikabar, he could teleport to the far side of the command post and initiate that fight. And the south team does have to split their attention between defending that command post and killing EMZE there. BlackBull does die. Pikabar using a net on tschepetto, nobody's there to follow it up. Who has the Reaper? GoblinKing with the Reaper. Reaper's an interesting weapon. It's the highest DPS 1300 range weapon in the game, and unlike other 1300 range weapons, it doesn't attack buildings at all, so you cannot hide from it, and it doesn't waste its DPS on buildings, so it's actually a pretty effective weapon for 1300 range. It doesn't have the same drawback that other 1300 range weapons do. And it does synergize kind of well with Hunter, who wants to stay out of the fight and deal as much damage as possible, like he's going to do here with the gravity grenade, with the orbital strike, and then just try to not take damage and use that Reaper. Caav, of course, does close that gap pretty quickly, and GoblinKing has to teleport out of the way. Alrion tries to get a cheeky kill on him, but he runs into GoblinKing's own breaker. So that breaker is already paid for itself. You kind of wonder though if GoblinKing could, because if GoblinKing can afford a Reaper, which costs 18,000, he can afford a Titan, and I think the Titan would have been better. You can still keep the orbital strike on that Titan, maybe not the area boost. They're going to push this south command post once again. BlackBull does get the hook on Caav, tries to carpet bomb them, a couple of them hit. BlackBull is killed, and then GoblinKing might die as well. So now they have 2 people down. They have 25 seconds. 25 seconds to go heal up. EMZE is dealing a lot of damage to the base here. Not only is this factory taking damage, but this protective tower is almost down. And if that protective tower goes down, these troops really start stacking up at the base. They're going to try to push this middle command post here. VSIN is present, Alrion is present, Hokuto is present, tschepetto is present, pikabar is the only one there. BlackBull teleports in with his Sky Fortress. He does have the carpet bombs, which deal damage to his own allies, but pikabar can take it. And they kill all 5 of the players on the south team, so this will probably end the game right now. And it doesn't matter that they're teleporting into breakers, they have 15 seconds of basically free time. And these factories are already going down, so my guess is this north team is going to give up, and yep, they do. So they did have a chance to take some good exchanges, but then they took a single really catastrophic exchange, and that ended the game. And had they been taking even trades over and over again, EMZE would have continued to siege that base. So they were in a losing position. Not an impossible position, but yeah, once that last command post falls, it becomes much harder for them, especially when their base is already rapidly dying. So that was a fun game to commentate. Always my pleasure to do this. Titan music out.